Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're gonna take a look at a very meta line for the current Halloween Cup, and I immediately went 5-0 with this team. So let me show you this team. It's kinda similar to what I always love to run, which is going to be Nidoqueen. It's honestly my favorite Pokemon in the current meta in general, not only the Halloween Cup, but also in the Great League. But this team is going to have honestly my favorite Pokemon, Greninja, as a safe swap, as well as in the back. We're going to not run the Mandibuzz, which you can also run, but then you're going to have a double weakness to ice, which I didn't really want to have. We're going to run the Umbreon, which is also kind of normal. We have literally the standard poison double dark lineup, which definitely works out fairly well. We're going to encounter here already a very decent core breaker though, which is going to be Toxicroak, but we're going to be able to just farm them down with our Nidoqueen. And you want to see every battle that I played with this team, so everything that you see here is totally okay, and like everything that I played with this team. And I think I went in total 11-2 with this team, which is really nice. So definitely a very strong lineup that you can play in the Halloween Cup. It's a very achievable team as well. No XL Pokemon, yes, like the Shadow Nidoqueen, but this has been meta for ages anyway. So moving on to the second game here, we're going to encounter again a core breaker for this team. It's going to be the Toxicroak. Toxicroak is going to be a little bit of a tricky Pokemon, but we can just go ahead and use a shield against the opponent here, which is going to go for a Mud Bomb. I can go for the bait here with my own Poison Fang, always go up to the Earth Power of course, but the Poison Fang is not going to get shielded, so I decide to swap out into my Greninja to catch the incoming Mud Bomb, because it's here not super effective, and I should put them into a range where I can farm them down, but sadly my opponent is going to run the Beedrill in the back. Shadow Beedrill is a little bit of a core breaker for this team, especially if they're running the Exeter, as they could also run Feldslinger, which is a little bit easier for us to deal with, but of course Exeter is going to do actually so much damage to the Umbreon now, which is kind of wild, like literally two-shots it, which makes this matchup very, very difficult for me to deal with, but still I have a chance of coming back from this. You're going to see it here as well, but we will find out shortly if we're actually going to be able to come back from it, as we're going to see Peter here against the opponent. And honestly, I most likely misplay this now a little bit, because I overfarm only by 4. I think I should have overfarmed by 5 here, but now I can still go for the Earth Power. Maybe Poison Fang immediately would have been fine as well, but sadly I just barely don't reach the next charge move against the opponent's Greninja, so we're not able to knock them out here. Moving on now to the next game, we're going to encounter the Golbat in the lead. This is not really ideal for us, but we can just go for our Greninja again, and we will see the Fortress swapping in here. We can go ahead and go for the Hydro Cannon, and as you're going to see here, I will be able to still reach a Night Slash, which is going to be amazing for me, as this is going to allow us to get a shield from the opponent, and we can even maybe force another one if we would reach another one there, but we sadly don't. But Fortress is learning the move Earthquake, so I decide to swap out into my Umbreon instead in order to knock out the opponent here. As you're going to see here, Earthquake is not going to do too much damage. Of course, Bug Bite is chunking away off my health, but I will be able to still go for a foul play, get the knockout, and now depends on what they're going to swap into. And luckily, the opponent decides to swap back into their Golbat, allowing me to go for another foul play here and trying to weaken them down. So this is definitely a very favorable thing for us, but also I have to be a little bit careful, because maybe they have a Ghost type lurking in the back, so they're fine getting rid of their Golbat. So I decide to swap out now into my Nidoqueen, fairly certain that this is just a Poison Fang here, and it is. So we will see what they're going to have in the back. It's going to be the Scissor. We are not joking around. I'm known for doing a lot of baits, but not today, and the opponent did not expect it, and this is going to be enough to really destroy the opponent here. I can let the next move go through as well. It's going to be again a double resisted Poison Fang, and thanks to my prediction there, by going straight for the Earth Power, we will be able to win this game here. Moving on to the next one here, we're going to take a look at this one. We're going to have the Golisopod against us in the lead. Actually a Pokemon that I didn't really expect to see and also didn't really prepare for, but we're still going to be okay here, right? I can use a shield against the opponent as they decide to go for the Liquidation. We're going to not get the debuff from the opponent either, which is fine, at least if the game... Maybe we still get it? No, okay, we don't get it. Like, right now the game is a little bit weird in terms of that. I'm a little bit late here in swapping out, which is kind of awkward, as the opponent can go for an awkward here, but this kind of shows me that they should be fairly weak against Greninja in the back. This time around, I'm gonna go for the bait, which is definitely a misplay by me, and also it's going to be even worse. I don't know. I'm just a little bit too much of a baiter here, sadly, as we're going to see the opponent gets immediately the defense drop, which is really bad for me, because now Crunch is going to two-shot me, and I decide to go for the bait as well, which is just so bad by me, so I just like I have to basically go for another shield here, and I try to get at least my shields back thanks to the Night Slash here from my Greninja. Going to be able to get the first shield here, and I can at least bait another time, which is going to get the final shield by the opponent, hopefully, as this could also even be the Hydro Cannon, but I can now swap out into my Umbreon. Usually they're not running Exeter, so I should be kinda in a decent spot. They're going to run Iron Head, which is amazing for me, as I can now still go ahead and go for the foul play, trying to knock them out here with this charge move. Doesn't quite do it, but we can still nearly farm them down just with Snarl, which is going to be amazing for me as well. As the Iron Head comes through, we can farm them all the way down. They decide to go back into the Drapier, and we can knock them out here as well. Now it's just one Pokemon in the back, which is not going to appreciate the Nidoqueen at all, which is going to be the Golisopod, but even our Umbreon is all it takes to knock them out, so this is going to be a good game. Moving on now to the next game, we're going to encounter the next opponent here, going to have the Victreebel in the lead. And that's going to be a very awkward one for us, as this is going to be a tough one here. We're going to be able to still go for the Poison Fang, but we're going to see here, of course, our backline really does not want to face up the Victreebel, and because we are the Shadow variant, they can actually farm me down fairly easily. They're going to have the Obstacle in the back. I decide to swap out, of course, into my Greninja, but to my surprise, they're actually running Obstruct, which is not ideal for me, and as you're going to see as well, the opponent decides to use a shield onto this charge move, which is smart by them. But also, I can still outspeed them, but it doesn't really help me either, because this Hydro Cannon is not going to do too much damage, so I decide to forfeit, because there was nothing I can do. Moving on, we're going to encounter the Greninja in the lead here, which is going to be a little bit awkward, but we can still try to catch a move, which works out really well. And you saw already my Greninja got a free fast move in as well, allowing me to go for a Hydro Cannon, but maybe actually 2 Night Slashes would have been better here in this range. You kind of want to get some damage in with your first Pokemon as well, with a Nidoqueen. Getting some energy advantage as well for later on is nice. But as you're going to see, the opponent runs a Slowbro in the back. Actually a cool Pokemon for this current meta. Kind of want to try it out as well. Especially now with Surf, this Pokemon has so much more potential, as we can go ahead and go for the Night Slash against the opponent. This is going to get both shields from the opponent, which is amazing for me, as I'm still going to run my Umbreon in the back. The usual moveset for this cup is Surf as well as Psychic, so you should not really fear anything from the opponent's Slowbro. As I can still go for another charge move here, I will be able to reach the foul play in time. And even the Earth Power, of course, would be enough to knock them out, as we're going to be able to hit this foul play, get nearly the knockout, but they decide to swap out into the Skeledirge. I will be able to, of course, go for the super effective foul play here again, but they have super effective damage against me as well, so I try to catch this one, which does not work out, but I can just use my shield. And honestly, the opponent is now already in the range where I can just go for a Poison Fang here, which should be enough to knock them out. Skeledirge, not really the bulkiest Pokemon, as we can see here, and we're going to have a great time, as the opponent's Slowbro is going to go down to a Poison Fang as well, and Nidoqueen is sweeping this game. Next one, going to be Greninja in the lead. This is going to be a very interesting one for us as well, again, as we're going to be able to just go ahead and swap into our own Greninja, again, basically similar as we saw already in the first one. We're going to be able to just go ahead and go for our own Hydro Cannon, so we're going to be able to definitely destroy the opponent there a little bit, but I'm still going to use a shield against the opponent just in case, so I can maybe farm down afterwards. We will see here that we can just go for the full farm down, which is going to be fine, and we will be able to now have still some energy at least left. We have a shield disadvantage, but with this team kinda, you really want to realign your Pokemon, which is going to work really well for me, as the opponent is going to run the Runerigus in the back. And imagine I lost switch advantage here. I would have had the Runerigus against our Nidoqueen, which would have not been ideal, and would have had the Carbink against our Umbreon. So if you go shield down, it's actually not too bad with this team, as long as you're going to be able to keep your switch advantage. This is basically what you kind of want to do, even if you face a lead like the Greninja here, which is really tough to deal with. We're going to be able to just go ahead and get the full knockout. But also, what does the opponent do against a Shadow Victreebel? Like, literally every single Pokemon is so weak against it, it's wild. But I'm still going to be able to go for a Poison Fang here, which is going to get the opponent's defense drop, which is kind of nice. I can go for the foul play, but as you're going to see, the opponent is going to go for the Rock Tomb and gonna drop my attack. I'm honestly not sure what they try to do here. Yes, Rock Tomb is cool because you're going to be able to hit something like even the Mandibuzz, which I also kind of find is a cool idea, but I actually don't know what they really try to do, because they're going to get knocked out by our Umbreon anyway, so this is going to be a very good game. Next one, let's see. Let's go. What do they going to have here? We're going to see the Carbink in the lead, which is going to be interesting for us. So you're going to see the opponent having a Scrafty there. Scrafty is going to be fine for us. We can just go ahead and go for the Poison Fang. This is going to get the defense drop against them. I will be able to use a shield. But honestly, the opponent plays very well. As they go for the Power Punch, they are going to be able to get to their next move in time, basically. That's going to be a foul play against me. So they're going to get all this matchup with a shield advantage, which is not what I want them to get. So it's going to be a little bit of a tough one to still come back from this one. We're going to see here that they have their own Greninja in the back. I'm forced to stay in here because I cannot swap out into my own Greninja, because later on it's going to be a little bit tricky. I would need to basically align my Umbreon against the opponent's Greninja and my Greninja against the opponent's Carbink. So as you're going to see here, I'm going to be in my into my Umbreon first, and now we're gonna see the Carbink coming in. At least I will be able to hit this Hydro Cannon against the opponent before they can go for a charge move. But not only this, Greninja is honestly just the MVP here, as we will see the opponent going for the Rock Slide. It does not knock us out, and we can just get the knockout against the Carbink. Greninja is just so much fun to play in the current meta. We will see the opponent's Greninja coming back in, but what do you want to do against my loaded Umbreon? Moving on, now let's take a look at the next opponent. We're going to have here the Nidoqueen against the opponent's Sableye. Allow me now to basically go ahead and go for the Night Slash against the opponent here, as I swap into their Venusaur. And look at this matchup, it's actually way better than you might expect. We will be able to go for another Night Slash here, which is going to get them low, but honestly, even the fast move of mine is chunking quite a bit from the opponent. As we're going to see here, I will be able to shield up the next move, and I can still go for a Night Slash here, as this will be able to get the knockout against the opponent, allowing me to realign. And as said before already, realignment is the most important thing for this team. This is what Greninja is so great in this current meta here. As you're going to be forced to go into our Umbreon, basically we have to hit one charge move at least, because then we can farm them down even with a Nidoqueen. But as you can see here, I will be able to reach the foul play in time. They can go for more returns if they want to. I have great IVs on my Umbreon, which will allow me to survive 2 returns. Actually, there are Umbreon IVs that does not allow you that. But here we will still swap out, and they're going to run a Grimer in the back. Grimer with Mudslap. Very interesting choice though. I think I have a Grimer build as well, so maybe I can try this one out as well, because I feel like it has a lot of potential. Very cool spice pick here, but I can just go ahead and go for the Poison Fang. This will allow me to get the shield, so it was a lucky one for me, honestly, because the opponent could have baited this or like called this, but I will be able to just go ahead and go for the Earth Power, getting the knockout here, and the Sableye is now down against the Umbreon, and I will be able to outspeed the opponent to win this game. Took a little bit to knock them out there, but we're going to be fine here, so you can take a look at the next opponent. You're going to have the Mandibuzz against us in the lead. We will be able to just go for not any move, to be fair, because I rather swap out here. This is the thing as well, if you go for a Poison Fang and the opponent swaps out later, your Poison Fang basically does nothing for you. So what we can try to do here is we can just try to go ahead and go for the Night Slash, as well as we're going to be able to now even go for more Night Slashes against the opponent, but we're just going to still have our Poison Fang in the back, which I feel like is the better play. And look how strong Greninja is again. We are getting the opponent so insanely low, even lower than you might expect, because we can even still reach another charge move. Honestly, Greninja is just so much fun to play in this current meta, as it can swap out into our Umbreon. This will allow us to just go ahead and go for the full farm down, and the opponent cannot really do anything about it. They swap out into the Mandibuzz, and now they are locked in this matchup, and this is exactly why you kind of want to keep your Poison Fangs and Poison Jabs around here, because this allows you to now debuff the opponent without them being able to swap out. And this is why I don't throw in the beginning, because the matchup is a little bit tricky, but if you're going to be able to go up against the opponent again later on, where the opponent is locked in, they have nothing they can do, and they're going to have a Nidoqueen in the back. I'm going to go for the bait here, because it's mostly the best play that I can go for. If they call this, this is going to be a great play by them, but they don't call this. But I don't care about this matchup. I'm going to let this move go through. My only hope here is right now my Umbreon, and my Umbreon is going to hopefully deliver. As the opponent decides to swap out to clear the debuff, they are going to get basically hit soon by my charge moves. They're going to go for the Poison Fang here. I have now already 100 energy, and I can go for the first foul play. That's basically, by the way, how you always want to align your fast move energy with a 3-turn move against a 2-turn move. Always go for one fast move first if you can, before you throw your next charge move, because it gives you the most amount of energy without giving the opponent any free turns. And like this, we're going to be able to just go for another foul play, knock out the opponent, and just barely win this game here. Next one coming up, we're going to have here the Mandibuzz against us in the lead. Again, we do the exact same thing as before. They are again running the Air Slash here, which is going to be fine for me. I will be able to catch a move, and let's see what it's going to be. It's going to be the foul play. This is going to be amazing for us. We can just move on and go for the Hydro Cannon against the opponent. This will allow me to go ahead and just do some amazing damage against the opponent here with another Hydro Cannon, as this is going to go ahead and do some really decent damage against him. Getting the knockout here against the opponent. Let's see what's coming in next. It's going to to be the Toxapex from the opponent again, as I can go for the Night Slash, and this will hopefully do some decent damage against the opponent, as we will get the Night Slash off here again, and this will definitely do some decent damage, as I can now swap out into my Umbreon, allowing me to align my Pokemon later on as well, as I can just take any move here. Even a Sludge Wave, as you can see here, Umbreon does not really care too much. This is the beauty of Umbreon. Umbreon is just so bulky. I maybe make a mistake here because I decide to swap out into my own Nidoqueen, trying to get some more energy on my Pokemon, but they of course have Brine, which I'm forced to shield up, and they're going to run their own Nidoqueen in the back. We are not baiting here today. Boom, and also bye. So, moving on now to the next one, we're going to encounter here the Nidoqueen against the Carbink. This will allow us to hopefully get a great matchup here, as the opponent has to swap out eventually. I can just go straight for the Earth Power. There's no reason to bait here, just go straight Earth Power. Speaking of there's no reason to bait here, I don't know why I don't listen to my own words, but this was not the smartest idea. As I'm still going to be able to go for the Earth Power, I will be able to get the shield from the opponent. I can swap out into my Umbreon, and at least here, the Foul Play is going to do more damage after the debuff onto the opponent, as I will get the shield advantage at least. I will have the switch advantage later on, but also I have now basically the Umbreon aligned against the Toxapex, and I should have aligned it a little bit earlier because, of course, Umbreon against the opponent's Carbink is a very bad matchup. And as you're going to see here, the opponent is going to swap immediately into the Carbink. They can go for the Moonblast in time, but funnily enough, Moonblast from this range is not enough to knock me out, which is weird, but I will be able to swap out into my Greninja, which is a fair safe swap here, as we have the shield advantage. We're going to be able to hit another charge move here, and we can go for with a full farm down before they can even do anything against me, allowing me to have a ton of energy against the incoming Toxapex again. And they are mostly going to run their own Greninja in the back, I would imagine, because it's at least like one of the most common teams here. Let's see what they're actually going to run in the back. It's going to be actually a Quillfish, which is totally fine for me. I can hit the Hydra Cannon, and this is going to be basically it for this game. As you can see here, they let this go through, and this is going to be basically it. So a good game there to the opponent. Moving on, let's take a look at the next opponent, final opponent for today's video. I hope you enjoyed this video. It's a great team to play, it's a very easy team to play, and also in general an easy team to achieve. The community day for Greninja was just recently. We had a ton of community days or events for the Umbreon already, as well as we had also like the Nidoqueen available for a long time. You can also use a normal Nidoqueen, by the way, if you want to. You can also use some other poison type if you want to, but this is definitely one of my favorite lines that you can run for this current meta for the Halloween Cup. Here we're going to encounter another Greninja in the back, which is going to be a little bit tricky, but at least I'm going to be able to reach another charge move in time, which will allow me to get the shield from the opponent, as they're going to go for the full farm down against me. I can swap out into my Umbreon, which will take a charge move from the opponent, maybe even two. But my hope is basically here that I'm going to be able to farm them down with my Nidoqueen. As you can see here, I'm going to tap on the right side, and can I farm them down in time? I can, allowing me to get a ton of energy here, as we will see what they're going to have in the back. It's going to be the Golbat again, allowing me to go for the full farm down. I wasn't sure if this is already a Shell Ball, and I don't want to risk it, but I risk it actually, and it's going to be just a Poison Fang in the back. There's lurking a Toxapex, and of course, the only thing that we have to do here is go for the Earth Power, and this is going to be it for today's video. This is going to be a very easy victory at the end. Going 11-2 with this team is amazing. Definitely a team I would like you to try and run in this meta. It's a very strong lineup. Also, check out the videos on the screen right now, and also leave a like on the video. See you then. Bye bye.